Hi, welcome back to Finally Revealed. In this episode, I want to talk about how you deal with a creditor when you believe you are judgment proof. Some of the things in this video may apply if you're trying to work towards a settlement, but specifically I want to talk about if you are judgment proof. So I have several other videos on this topic, so look at the playlist. I might put the links down below to help you understand what being judgment proof is. Now, the first thing that you want to do is identify who it is that is harassing you. Are they just making demand upon you? Is it by letter? Is it by phone call? Does Fair Debt Collection Practices Act come into play? I'll put the link for that video below. And if so, you need to notify them to stop contacting you, etc. If you have gone further and you have determined that you are judgment proof, or you believe you're judgment proof, either permanently or situationally for the time being, and you just want them to back off and leave you alone, you may reach out to them and contact them about the fact that you believe you are judgment proof. Now, depending upon where the situation is, if it is just where they're making demand for payment, is different than if they have now sued you for payment, and that's different from when you are contacting them after they've already taken judgment, because there are different steps along the way. So if they write to you and say, we need you to pay this bill, and you write back and say, I'm judgment proof and here's a little bit about my story, then they may reach out again, and there may be some delay, because that might put a glitch in whatever the collection agency, if it's a collection agency or the creditor, what their normal process is. So that may push them back a while and you might not hear from them. Or it may cause them to push it over to someone else, and you will be accelerated in the loop of being contacted again. And they may call you, you might invite them to call you. Whatever you put in your letter, be prepared to then discuss with them. It won't necessarily just make them go away, because people don't always tell the truth, and people might say I'm judgment proof just to get somebody off their back or to get a little bit more time. So expect follow-up. Not necessary for you to make follow-up once you've told them this, if that's what you decide to tell them, but you should be prepared for them to follow up and go from there. If it is just a demand situation, they still can follow through and sue you. If they have sued you and you communicate that you are judgment proof, that in itself does not alleviate your requirement to file an answer or to show up in court. Because you can't pay, ultimately, is something that should matter to the creditor, but that does not matter to the court when they're determining whether or not a judgment should be entered. So if you have a legal defense to the claim, then you should make it. If you truly believe you are judgment proof and you don't want to go through the trouble, you can't get to court, you can't hire an attorney, you don't want to do it, you don't care if a judgment is entered against you because there's nothing to get anyway, then that's your decision and you should act accordingly. If you have a judgment against you and you contact them and say, I'm judgment proof, that won't necessarily stop them from, again, reaching out to you again and using court process. In some courts, they can have you served for a judgment debtor's examination, bring you into court, and ask you questions about your assets, your liabilities, and things like that. The other thing they can do, as I have on remedies for court judgments, they can execute and try to attach earnings or bank accounts and things like that. Now, a person who's truly judgment proof may have a bank account, but the property, the money in that account, may all be exempt and not eligible to be taken by a creditor. That doesn't mean that the creditor won't go ahead and try to garnish it. And that way they will bring the issue forward, and you'll have to actually show that this is not your money, or it is your money, but it came from a source that makes it exempt and they cannot take it. So just because you send them the letter, you should still be prepared for these other steps, because they may try to verify what you have told them they won't necessarily take it at face value. Now, one other thing to be aware of is the fact of whether or not this is the creditor themselves contacting you, the party that either sold you the good or service, or that you received a loan from and you signed a promissory note. The things that that creditor, actual creditor, can do are different in certain situations and certain states from what an assignee of that debt or claim or judgment can do. So look over the paperwork and be clear, and if you need to seek legal advice, you need to make sure they understand this and they see the documents, whether or not it's the main creditor or it is someone else that was assigned the debt to collect, whether it's a collection agency or an attorney or someone else. Now, one final thing, when you send them the notification that you are judgment proof, be prepared also, whether at whichever stage this is in, for someone else new to contact you later. And it may be a situation that's way later, years later, months later than your initial contact. If a credit agency or a creditor reaches out to collect and they get some type of, they're not able to, or they get a letter or something like that, then they may bundle that up with other debts that are owed and sell it to someone else for pennies on the dollar. Now this new group will start again and try to collect. So you may have to repeat your efforts to this new group. And always keep in mind, when did the debt originate, or when was it due, and has the statute of limitations run? So you should know what that statute of limitations is, and I'm going to go ahead and do a sheet for that and put it on our website so that it shows what those statutes are for you, so that you can have that information available. Okay? So I hope this was helpful to you. If it was, give me a thumbs up. Leave any comments below on any situations or other questions. This came from a viewer question. I really appreciate it, and I just want to clarify. So if you have any other questions, leave them below. Give me a thumbs up if this was helpful. Share this with anyone who may need the assistance. Subscribe to see the other videos. Check up on the Finally Revealed website, FinelyRevealed.com. We're getting information up there. We revamped it. I'm really excited. We have a couple of glitches, but hopefully they'll be fixed soon. And look for some new information in the channel update that's coming. I will put that video up as soon as we have the website fully functioning, because I have some good announcements for you. Hey, if you have any questions that any of the videos cause you to ask, you can leave them in the comments below, or go to the Finally Revealed Facebook page and leave them there. I'm going to be pulling those on a weekly basis and doing videos and short answers on the Facebook page. So, hope this was helpful. Come back and see me next time. Thanks for watching.